the time I've been mistaken, and many times confused. Yes, and I've often felt forsaken, and certainly misused. But I'm alright, I'm alright, I'm just weary to my bones. Still, you don't expect to be bright and bon vivant, so far away from home, so far away from home. Paul Simon's American Tune is, first of all, a really heavily requested song around here, but a really, really interesting song to play. We're going to take a look at this. This, of course, appeared on his second album, There Goes Rhymin Simon, along with Kodachrome, Loves Me Like a Rock, some other great tunes. And but what I like to do with people when I'm teaching this song is take a couple of different steps in it. And one is, it's got some very quick chord changes, really just one beat or half note beats. So we're going to be looking at quick changes with some relatively easy chords, but a couple of unusual ones. We are going to need some bar chords in here. We're going to have to play some, we do want to play some full Fs, but we're also going to be using some smaller Fs. We'll take a look at that in the left-hand close-up. But we're going to do two kind of completely different lessons here. One will be, I almost hate to call it a campfire version because it's going to be, it's kind of complicated for a campfire version, but it's going to be only two very simple finger-picking patterns. One where we're just pinching the chords, and another one where we're just doing a little arpeggio. So with just the combination of those two things and playing through the chart that I have that has all the chords, a big old block, takes up a whole page, and then we have a page of lyrics that you can use, of course, to get the lyrics right. We have two sections of the song. There's just a verse. There are three of them, and a bridge. This is the section when he gets to the, and I dreamed I was dying. I dreamed that my soul rose unexpectedly, etc., etc. So there's that section, and we'll take a look at that too. But the whole song can be done with these two simple patterns and just these quick changes. Now we also are going to take a look at a more detailed version that's going to include a lot. There are like 6 or 7 pages of tablature that I put together for this, and it includes a lot of his little runs. We'll hear things like this, and some quick little chord changes. With some fancier stuff in that too. So there'll be a separate chapter on that shows the fancier stuff, and again, very detailed tab to that. So without further ado here, I want to talk a little bit in the next couple segments about left hand and right hand and what they're doing, but then we'll get into a couple different versions of Paul Simon's American Tune. Well, we have a lot of normal chords in American Tune, but a few kind of exotic ones too. So let's just talk real quickly about the chords we're going to need. Whichever version we're playing, we're going to need, and most of the chords I'm going to talk about here are really just in the Campfire version. We're going to play a standard C chord with your first, second, and third fingers, and again, good hand position, really important, keeping your thumb low on the back of the neck so your fingers are nice and round. First finger on C on the second string, second finger on E on the fourth string, and third finger on C on the fifth string. In the, again, kind of in the Campfire version, we're going to be doing some very easy stuff with your right hand. And in the more detailed version, it'll be a little bit more elaborate, but that part will be fairly self-explanatory when you're looking at the tablature. But for here, we're only going to do two different things. I'm playing a C chord now. And the way I've got the charts written out, if there's only a letter, you're just going to grab that chord one time, pinching 4 notes together. In the case of a C chord, it'd be the fifth string, and your top 3 fingers are usually going to be grabbing, or your 3 fingers are usually going to be grabbing the top 3 strings. Your index finger on the third string, your middle finger on the second string, and your ring finger on the first string. So this would be what it'd look like for a C chord. For the little F chord, I would go here, back to C. If I went to G, I would hit the 6th string in the bass, back to C, basic version of American Tune is going to be pretty simple. We talked about what you're going to do with your right hand, this right hand, and the left hand just has to play the chords, and you just have to keep one of these two patterns going. So again, if you just take a look at the chart, which is the one page that has all the letter names on it, and then we of course have a page of lyrics, that's really all you need for this version, although the tablature, which is 6 or 7 pages, does show you exactly what you want to do when you have repeated C's that act as the intro. So for those C's in the intro where I've got a C and a slash, what we want to do there is one C would stand for this. The note's plucked, followed by the bass note. The slash would mean another one of those. Okay, let's dress this up a bit and take a look at the tablature that I have to American Tune. And this includes a lot of the fills and little connecting parts that Paul Simon does that really make this song tasty. Now, a couple things one thing that's really important to know in this, he plays this significantly different every time. There are certain little fills and licks that he puts in, and other times it's kind of random what he's doing. He's a very comfortable and accomplished guitarist, so he's not really interested in playing a song exactly the same way every time. Every time he plays a song, he's going to tell you the story slightly differently. Even his inflection in the words is going to be a little bit different. So this is kind of a cumulative version of lots of different things that he did in different places. So if we just start walking through it one measure or one verse at a time, the introduction, very simple. Stay with this. Let's not make this too fancy, because that way people will recognize what song is happening here. If we get into the first verse, the first measure, just the same thing we had in the simple version. Pinch the F chord, pinch the C chord. Notice some of those pinches are changing strings. Like right there I've got the C chord moving from the top 3 strings to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. Then he really does mostly what I was talking about in the earlier version, where a measure is either just 2 half-note pinches on a chord or a 4-note arpeggio. But the 4-note arpeggios are they're kind of random. So in the next measure, we've got a G chord and a C chord with just kind of random notes. And notice the bass note that I have in there on the C is even an open one at the end because he's let go of the chord early. Well, I hope you can take advantage of the lots of different little things you can progress with and advance to from American Tune, because it's a great example of a song that you can play very simply, but it has some patterns that you have to change. Again, just going from the pinching and the plucking into the arpeggios, but then quick changes with your left hand. So it really gives you a chance to polish some of those skills. And the kind of really cool thing about the more advanced version is you can just try little pieces of that and work them into various measures at any pace you want. So you could mix and match it and make it a very custom arrangement. Just with I would start with just being able to do the arpeggios rather than this way. Sometimes maybe a little more random, and then definitely start working on the climb from the G chords into the C's. That's a really important one to have down too.